The first time it happened, Daniel thought he had imagined it. The dining room was packed in that polite, expensive way where laughter stayed low and forks barely touched plates. Daniel moved between tables with practiced calm, balancing a tray of drinks while keeping half an eye on the clock and the other half on the corner booth. His daughter Emma sat there with her coloring book, feet swinging, headphones on but no music playing. She liked to hear his voice when he passed. At table 9 sat the man everyone whispered about. The billionaire. He wore a watch that probably cost more than Daniel's car and spoke to people like they were furniture. When his steak arrived a minute later than he wanted, his voice cut through the room. Do you people even know how to do your jobs? Daniel froze for half a second. He watched the young server stiffen, eyes dropping. Something hot rose in his chest, old and familiar. He had felt it too many times growing up, watching his own father swallow words to keep peace. Daniel walked over before he could talk himself out of it. Sir, he said calmly, setting down the tray. You can speak to us respectfully. Shout at me again, and this ends. The table went silent. Forks paused midair. The billionaire stared at Daniel like he was an insect that had suddenly learned to talk. Do you know who I am? The man asked. Daniel nodded. I know who I am too. And I'm a dad. My kid's watching. For a long moment, no one breathed. Then the billionaire scoffed, waved him off, and demanded the manager. Daniel expected to be fired before his shift ended. But he wasn't. The manager apologized profusely to the billionaire, comped the meal, and later pulled Daniel aside. Don't do it again, she said quietly. But, thank you. Daniel went home that night exhausted, heart still racing. Emma hugged him tight, small arms fierce around his neck. You were brave, Daddy, she said, like she'd been thinking about it all evening. The next afternoon, Daniel came in early for a double shift. The restaurant was quieter, sunlight spilling through tall windows. Emma sat in the booth again, coloring carefully. A woman walked in alone. She didn't look rich in the loud way. No diamonds flashing, no sharp confidence. She wore a simple coat and carried herself like someone used to watching rather than being seen. She took a seat at Daniel's section and smiled at Emma before opening the menu. When Daniel approached, she looked up at him with eyes that felt unsettlingly kind. You're the waiter from last night, she said. Daniel nodded, cautious. Yes, ma'am. I saw what you did, she said. That took courage. He shrugged. It took being tired. She laughed softly. That too. They talked as he served her. Small things. Emma's drawings. Long shifts. How hard it was to balance everything alone. The woman listened like each word mattered. Before she left, she slid something across the table. A card. No logo, just a name and number. If you ever need anything, she said, call me. Daniel thanked her, assuming it was one of those gestures people made to feel generous. That evening, the billionaire returned. This time, he was louder. He criticized the lighting, the water temperature, the way Daniel set down the plate. The room tightened around his voice. Daniel felt Emma watching again, her pencil paused. The billionaire leaned forward. You think you embarrassed me last night? I could buy this place and fire you today. Daniel met his eyes, hand steady. Shout at me again, and this ends. The billionaire laughed. Ends how? It ends with you leaving, Daniel said. Or me walking out. Either way, it ends. The billionaire stood, red-faced, ready to explode. Enough. The voice came from behind him. The woman from earlier stepped forward. Her posture was calm, her tone unshakable. Sit down, she said. The billionaire turned. This is none of your business. She smiled, thin and cold. Actually, it is. I'm the majority shareholder in your company. And your sister. The room gasped. Daniel felt the world tilt slightly. She continued, eyes never leaving the billionaire. I've watched you belittle people for years. I wondered when someone would finally speak back. The billionaire sputtered, face draining of color. Apologize, she said. He did. Quietly. Poorly. But he did. Then he left. The restaurant stayed silent for a beat, then life slowly returned. Forks clinked. Conversations resumed, softer than before. The woman turned to Daniel. You taught my brother something he desperately needed, she said. And you reminded me what real strength looks like. Daniel didn't know what to say. A week later, Daniel got a call. The woman had arranged a scholarship fund. Not charity. A job opportunity with flexible hours and benefits. Something that would let him be home for dinners. For homework. For Emma. Months passed. Daniel no longer wore an apron. He still packed Emma's lunch every morning. Still walked her to school. Still remembered the day his voice didn't shake. Sometimes he saw the billionaire in the news, quieter now, reputation changed. Sometimes he saw the woman for coffee. She always asked about Emma first. And sometimes, when Daniel tucked his daughter into bed, he thought about how one moment of refusal to be small had changed everything. Not because he wanted to be a hero, but because he refused to let his child learn that shouting was power. And that, more than anything money could buy, was worth everything.